Located in Nazca City on the southern coast of Peru, these giant geoglyphs offer one of the most attractive views from above. Despite being studied for over 80 years, the geoglyphs, which were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, are still a mystery to researchers. But what are these mysterious lines? When, and who created them? What is their purpose and how are they created? How have they remained safe until this day? This is what we will talk in this episode. The Nazca Lines are a group of very large geoglyphs made in the soil of the Nazca Desert in southern Peru, some 250 miles south of Lima. They were built between 600 and 200 BC by the ancient Nazca culture, and extend over an area of nearly 190 square miles. The area of the Peruvian desert in which the Nazca Lines were drawn is called the Pampa Colorada. It is 15 miles wide and runs some 37 miles parallel to the Andes and the Pacific Ocean. The desert is not sandy, but made of dark red surface stones, and soil with lighter colored subsoil beneath. These lines are among archaeology's greatest enigmas because of their quantity, nature, size, and continuity. There are three basic types of Nazca lines: straight lines, geometric designs, and pictorial representations. There are more than 800 straight lines on the coastal plain, some of which are 30 miles long. Additionally, there are over 300 geometric designs, which include basic shapes such as triangles, rectangles, and trapezoids, as well as spirals, arrows, zigzags, and wavy lines. While the images dated to the Paracas are often human-like, and bear some resemblance to still earlier petroglyphs in the region, the subjects of the Nazca-made lines are generally plants and animals such as a monkey, some 360 feet long, a killer whale, 210 feet long, a bird resembling a condor, 443 feet long, a hummingbird, 165 feet long, a pelican, 935 feet long, a spider, 150 feet long, and various flowers, trees, and other plants. The Nazca people also created other forms, such as a humanoid figure, nicknamed the astronaut, hands, and some unidentifiable depictions. Anthropologists believe the Nazca culture created the majority of the Nazca lines. The Chaban and Paracas cultures, which predate the Nazca, may have also created some of the geoglyphs. The Nazca lines are located in the desert plains of the Rio Grande do Nazca River Basin, an archaeological site that spans more than 75,000 hectares and is one of the driest places on Earth. The desert floor is covered in a layer of iron oxide-coated pebbles of a deep rust color. The ancient peoples created their designs by removing the top 12 to 15 inches of rock, revealing the lighter colored sand below. They likely began with small-scale models, and carefully increased the model's proportions to create the large designs. Most of the known geoglyphs were formed by removing rocks from only the border of the figures, creating a kind of outline, while others were formed by removing rocks from the interior. In 1997, an international team of archaeologists, geographers, archaeometrists, and others, formed the Nazca Palpa project in order to document and analyze the Nazca lines, and a number of similar figures near the town of Palpa. The conjecture of this group is that the platforms present at one end of many of the images reveal their ceremonial processional nature. This evidence, together with the presence in one excavated platform of thorny oyster fragments, suggests water-related religious ceremonies, not unlikely in this desert region. Researches on this area has never stopped, and more recent research suggested that the Nazca Lines' purpose was related to water, a valuable commodity in the arid lands of the Peruvian coastal plain. The geoglyphs weren't used as an irrigation system or a guide to find water, but rather as part of a ritual to the gods, an effort to bring much needed rain. Some scholars point to the animal depictions, some of which are symbols for rain, water, or fertility, and have been found at other ancient Peruvian sites and on pottery, as evidence of this theory. In 2015, researchers presenting at the 80th annual meeting of the Society for American Archaeology argued that the purpose of the Nazca Lines changed over time. Initially, pilgrims heading to Peruvian temple complexes used the geoglyphs as ritual processional routes. Later groups, as part of a religious rite, smashed ceramic pots on the ground at the point of intersection between lines. It seems incredible that such simply made drawings have survived for so many hundreds of years, and some have seen a mysterious element to this. But there is also a natural explanation. The surface is made of stone, not sand, and the climate of the area is such that there is practically no erosion. Also, given the low amount of rain, wind, and erosion in the desert, the geoglyphs have remained largely unscathed throughout the centuries. Since their discovery in the 1920s, the lines have been variously interpreted, but their significance remains largely shrouded in mystery. The American historian Paul Kossak observed the lines from an airplane in 1941, and hypothesized that they were drawn for astronomical purposes. Maria Reich, a German translator who spent years studying the site and lobbying for its preservation, also concluded that it was a huge astronomical calendar, and that some of its animal sketches were modeled after groupings of stars in the night sky. For example, the figure of the monkey correlates directly to the constellation Ursa Major. The dolphin and spider correlate with the constellation of Orion. However, in 1967, the American astrophysicist Gerald Hawkins found no correlation between changes in the celestial bodies and the design of the Nazca Lines. Some of the more colorful Nazca Line theories come from astronomer Robin Edgar. Astronomer Robin Edgar presented the theory that the Nazca Lines, particularly the ones that feature animals, fish, and humans, were created in order to respond to the eye of God. This would be a feasible explanation, as during the Nazca Line period coincides with a large amount of solar eclipses that occurred back then over the southern Peru area. Robin Edgar believed this as a solar eclipse might resemble the pupil and iris looking down on the people below. Therefore, it is believed that the lines were created in order for the eye in the sky to view the Nazca Lines. But Erich von Daniken has another theory. In the book Chariots of the Gods, Erich von Daniken that discusses his belief that the Nazca Lines were created by aliens and used as landing strips. Erich von Daniken felt that the designs were too complex and covered such a large distance that they could not have been created by humans, due to the size of the lines, lack of tools, plus they had no ability to view the lines from the air. Although the figures have been said to be virtually indecipherable from ground level, some claim that one cannot understand their meaning without walking what are now believed by some to be the sacred paths. Independent American researcher, David Johnson, who worked in collaboration with researchers at the University of Massachusetts, proposes the hypothesis of archaeologists Marcus Reindl and Johnny Easlott, that there is a direct relationship between the geoglyphs of Nazca and the water in the area, which could help solve the mystery of the Peruvian desert. He believes that the Nazca figures are markers for a subterranean water flow Peruvian geoglyphs, forming a huge map of underground water resources indicating locations of wells and aqueducts. For example, a symbol of a trapezoid were to indicate that there is a well below the ground. Circles were drawn near fountains or springs. The hummingbird would indicate a large well. David Johnson's theory is certainly interesting, but is not able to solve the full mystery, and is not applicable to all the drawings. The water theory falters under scrutiny, but perhaps the Nazca had greater advanced knowledge than we can imagine. The German Archaeological Institute and the Institute of Andean Archaeological Research share yet another theory. They discovered religious offerings in small cavities near the geoglyphs, which appeared to be appeasements to the gods, perhaps to ensure fertility, healthy crops, and a good water supply. The most thought-provoking and mysterious of the animal figures is the spider. Entomologists have discovered that the spider design is of a genus belonging to Riccinulae, one of the world's rarest spiders. This particular species is not indigenous to Peru, but lives only in the most inaccessible places in the Amazon forest, which is an incredible 932 miles away. There is no doubt as to the species of spider, but the accuracy of the geoglyph is remarkable. This spider has its reproductive organs at the end of one of its legs, but which is visible only under a microscope, so the question of how they even designed it in such fine detail remains unanswered. The Nazca people were known to collect trophy heads, and a research in 2009 revealed that the majority of trophy skulls came from the same populations as the people they were buried with. In 2011, a Japanese team discovered a new geoglyph that appears to represent a scene of decapitation, which, at about 13.8 feet long, and 10.2 feet wide, is far smaller than other Nazca figures, and not easily seen from aerial surveys. In 2016, the same team found another geoglyph, this time one that depicts a 98-foot-long mythical creature, that has many legs and spotted markings, and is sticking out its tongue. And in 2018, Peruvian archaeologists announced they had discovered more than 50 new geoglyphs in the region, using drone technology to map the landmarks in unprecedented detail. But still, there are many unanswered questions about the Nazca Lines, which covers them with mystery. Curiously, none of the four, which include a rainforest-dwelling hermit, a tropical parrot, and 2 coastal pelicans, are native to the arid landscape where their depictions are found. How was it possible to make such accurate and large-scale drawings on the ground, without using an airplane to check from a height? So did the Nazca map the lines from the air in order to find water? And why would the astronomic position of water wells be so important anyway? Were they used as pathways for the gods, or as astronomical markers? Researchers are working to properly document them. There's no telling what these new analyses will reveal. Until then, we'll need to be satisfied with the little we do know of the Nazca Lines, still best appreciated, it seems, from a bird's eye view.